the billionaire's pride, and the miracle of Jesus. Once upon a time in the bustling city of Jerusalem, there lived a billionaire named Darius. He was the wealthiest man in the land, owning vast estates, ships that sailed across the seas, and a palace adorned with gold and jewels. However, despite his immense wealth, Darius was known for his arrogance. He believed that money could buy anything, even life itself. Darius had a son, Alexander, whom he loved more than anything. The boy was intelligent, kind-hearted, and full of life. But one day, tragedy struck. Alexander fell gravely ill with a disease that no physician could cure. Darius summoned the best doctors from across the empire, offering them unimaginable wealth if they could heal his son. Yet, none succeeded. In his desperation, Darius heard whispers of a man named Jesus, a prophet who performed miracles, healing the blind, the crippled, and even raising the dead. But Darius scoffed at the idea. "What can a mere preacher do that my wealth cannot?" he mocked. Days passed, and Alexander's condition worsened. His once bright eyes grew dim, and his breath became weak. Finally, Darius, driven by despair, set aside his pride and went in search of Jesus. He found Jesus teaching a crowd by the Sea of Galilee. Pushing past the common folk, Darius approached him with the arrogance still lingering in his voice. "Rabbi," he said, "I am Darius, the wealthiest man in Jerusalem. My son is dying. If you heal him, I shall reward you with riches beyond imagination." Jesus looked at him with deep compassion and replied, "Do you believe that I can heal your son?" Darius hesitated. He had always believed in wealth and power, not in faith. But as he looked into Jesus' eyes, he saw something he had never seen before: pure love and authority beyond human understanding. For the first time in his life, Darius fell to his knees. "I have spent my life believing that gold could buy anything, but today I see that I was wrong. Please, not for wealth, but out of mercy, save my son." Jesus smiled and said, "Go home. Your son will live." Darius rushed back to his palace, his heart pounding. As he stepped inside, he saw his servants rejoicing. "Master, the boy has been healed." With tears streaming down his face, Darius ran to his son's bedside. Alexander, once at death's door, sat up, his face full of life and health. At that moment, Darius realized that no amount of wealth could match the power of faith. He gave up his arrogance, helped the poor, and became a follower of Jesus, spreading the message of love and humility for the rest of his life. And thus, the proud billionaire was humbled, not by loss, but by the boundless grace of the Son of God. In the heart of New York City, Alexander Grant stood atop his glass-walled penthouse, surveying the empire he had built. A billionaire known for his ruthless business acumen, he prided himself on being self-made. He had everything: power, wealth, and influence. But one thing he had little of was faith. To him, God was a myth for the weak. Alexander's only son, Michael, was his pride and joy. A bright and kind-hearted boy, Michael often spoke of faith, kindness, and Jesus, something his father dismissed with a wave of his hand. "Money moves the world, son, not prayers," he would say. One fateful day, tragedy struck. Michael was diagnosed with a rare, aggressive illness. The best doctors were called, the most expensive treatments administered, but nothing worked. As the days passed, Alexander watched in horror as his son's condition worsened. The man who had controlled everything in his life now found himself helpless. One evening, as he sat beside Michael's hospital bed, an old nurse, seeing his despair, said softly, "Have you tried praying?" Alexander scoffed but found himself unable to sleep that night. Desperation gnawed at him. For the first time in years, he dropped to his knees and whispered, "God, if you are real, help me. Save my son." The next morning, a stranger visited the hospital. He was a simple man in a white robe, his eyes full of peace. "I heard you are in need," the man said. "Who are you?" Alexander asked, suspicious. "Someone who can help," the man replied, placing his hand gently on Michael's forehead. A warm light seemed to fill the room, and in an instant, colour returned to Michael's pale face. The machines beeped rapidly, signalling a miraculous recovery. The doctors rushed in, bewildered. Tears streamed down Alexander's face as he turned to thank the man, but he was gone. That day, Alexander Grant, the mighty billionaire, knelt for the first time in true humility. He knew without a doubt that Jesus had come to him, not just to heal his son, but to heal his heart. From then on, his life changed. He used his wealth to help the needy, build hospitals, and spread kindness, knowing that true power belonged not in money, but in faith and love. And so, the man who once worshipped wealth found something far greater: